the first instruction to mankind. Increase and multiply. The opposite of that is to decrease and divide. Please take note of that idea. That you decrease your population in any way, just reduce its growth from off of potential, as the Americans might say, using that term off of, which in the English world one may not perhaps use. If you diminish your population off of its potential, you will consequently reduce your growth. You can use unusual methods against that potential, but eventually that potential will tell. It will be grinding on and on and on. It's the chronic state of mankind. We must grow to grow. We must grow the population to grow an economy. Population is bigger than economy. Population is bigger than history. Population is bigger than politics. It's bigger than nations. It's the biggest thing upon the earth. And economics is a living being. Economics is the living hive activity of population. You cannot have a world without economic transactions. To call something capitalism is strange. You know, some of the upper levels of fiduciary and financial activity is certainly strange and unusual and strained. That's because they're working against a gradient of population. You know, if you are off of your potential, you will not be able to work your economy. Momentarily, for brief periods of time, you may do so and have success, and therefore you get the volatile, jagged, up and down market. But economics is the living, breathing activity of population. It depends upon population. Its input is population. Its substratum, its substrate is population. It's surrounded by population. It's overtopped by population. It's defeated by population. It's enlarged, encouraged and grown by population. Everything relates to population. Everything. You increase, you will multiply. You do not increase, you will fail. Here I'm talking about not just zero population growth is really a form of saying you have volunteered to go down in the world by any current measure. Why would you want to do that? There is no society or civilization in the world that has voluntarily impoverished itself for other nations. Involuntarily, yes, but not deliberately. But here we see where a people having promoted development economics to the third world, whereby we said to them, not noticing the dynamic and the extension over time that all of this takes. It's like a flying wedge or a flying trapezium, because the effect on one affects the other, but progressively much later. Do you see what I mean? I mean, the wedge of this one begins to affect the wedge of that one only a little bit at the start, because it's in sort of in parallel with it. but later on the thicker parts of the wedge, of the flying wedge, cross that same point, and that's when your potential collapse occurs. And you can extend that crossing point by unusual credit arrangements or excessively aggressive marketing. However, at some point it will go down. We're seeing this with Russia, the collapse of Russia. Despite its resources, population went down, the economy went down. Over, finished, done. Japan is going through the same thing at the moment. Population 123 million, heading towards 111 million, they say. Well, the economy will suffer greatly, greatly. You know, you cannot spin your wheels on nothing. You've built up an infrastructure as if for 123 million people, but you've got 10 million people missing, 11, 12 million people missing. You know, that's too great a number. So 10% of businesses fail, and in their failure drag down others. So it goes beyond the 10%. 20%, 30% drop of absolute value, and might take the whole thing down with it. We must increase to multiply. My name is Phillip O'Sullivan, and I've recently graduated, so this is my graduation address. Thank you.